Hey everyone. Can you write something in the chat if you can hear us? Hello, hello. Perfect. Okay. So thank you guys so much for hanging in here and showing up on a Sunday morning in the US. So for this session, we'll be talking about validator taxes, and Antoine will be basically showing us a minimally viable spreadsheet so you will know how to calculate taxes for block rewards. And it's one of those sessions that's really important to actually attend if you plan to do your own staking as a service company. So thank you guys so much for showing up, and I'll pass the mic off to Antoine.
Hi, everyone. Really nice to be here. I'm in New York City right now. I see a lot of people in the chat, so it's pretty exciting. Yeah, so the subject has, since you said, the subject of the call of the talk will be about validators, accounting for validators activity. So basically, my name is Antoine Scalia. I am the co-founder and CEO of a company called Cryptio, which is a bookkeeping system for crypto companies. So what we do basically is that we help companies in the crypto space to keep the books of their activity and help them on their accounting. So when you're a company, you have crypto and you use this crypto, you need to find a way to put these information in your books and at the end, unfortunately, to report taxes. So that's what we do. And so we work with a few companies in the space like Consensus, Celo, iExec. You can find Kleros. You can go on the website and check it out. And basically, like 2 months, ago, we started to talk to some validators and companies involved in staking activities, including Consensus. And so we have started to be focused on that topic. So basically, we have interviewed and started to work with a few validators in the space. We started in conversation with a few accountants, tax advisors, to know a bit how to tackle this issue. So that will be what the talk will be about today. If you're running a staking company, what are the technical things to implement to be able to be ready for tax season? What I can, so let me just first share with you. So the talk would be through Spreadsheet. So I'm gonna share with you the spreadsheet. I'm gonna put the link in the chat, so you can use it and you can see what I'm doing. And I'm also gonna share my screen so that you can see what I do. Yeah. Let me know if you have problems with the spreadsheet, but I can see that you aren't really on board in the spreadsheet, so that's fine. One cool thing, yeah, just one thing before starting is, so the spreadsheet is not fully automated. It's for indication only. We can say that's sort of minimum viable spreadsheet. So it's here. It's for you to see how to sample, to get sample data, how to process the data, and the kind of dashboard that you can build. But this should not be used as the single source of truth. Just feel free to email me, send me messages on Telegram or whatever if you have any questions in using the spreadsheet, or if you have any kind of question related to that topic. In the first section here, you will find useful links that will mention and I might use during the talk. So just feel free to go there. Some of them are content I've created. Some of them are content created by the community. So yeah, the first thing is the goal of the session is basically to share so our learnings on this bookkeeping process for validators. The first thing you guys need to know is that there is no such thing today as staking taxation regulation, be it in the US, in Europe. There is no clear text saying that how it should be accounted, and so it's a very, very new topic. So everything can't be done. Some of the things can be done, some of the things can't be done, and I'm going to highlight along the talk what can be done, what you should do right now, and what you should prepare to do in the future. Again, the spreadsheet is for indication only. Feel free to check and click on the different links and answer all your questions in the chat. What we'll do is that I'm going to go back to the chat after the talk and look at your different questions and try to answer the questions. Just one more thing. I'm more an entrepreneur than an accountant or tax advisor. So I might be not able to answer all very technical questions, but I will definitely try. And if I can't, I will redirect you to the good content or the good places to get your answers. So yeah, first, just before getting into the technical aspect of it, it's important to have a quick overlook on what the regulation looks like. So as I said, there is no such thing as staking taxation regulation specific to staking. There is things related to mining. So basically, today, so you have mining taxation regulation in the US, but also in Europe, and it's more or less the same. The idea is that when you are a miner, you should report your mining rewards as gross income. So gross income, it's basically the money that you're making. So when you receive 1 Bitcoin as a mining reward, you should check the price of this Bitcoin at the moment of the reward, and you should have the value in your local currency, in USD, in euro, whatever, and you should use this and declare this as a gross income. And if you sell this Bitcoin, you need to compute the gain or loss on the sale of this Bitcoin. Meaning, if you have like 1 Bitcoin as a mining reward, and the Bitcoin is 1,000 USD at the moment of the reward, and when you sell this Bitcoin, it's at 2,000 USD, you need to report the 1,000 USD income, and the 1,000 gain that you're making on the sale. So I'm talking about mining regulation because it's likely that the regulation for staking taxation will be the same, but it's not sure. Because you have a lot of different parameters that you have to take into account that may lead at the end to a different system. So if you want more technical information on that, I invite you to go to the useful links on staking taxation challenges. You have very, very good but quite technical article on this topic, and I've done a quick summary of this article in the Google Doc. But basically, what you should the key information, the key takeaway from this first part is that you have the regulation is not ready yet, and depending on the regulation, you might have to declare different things. So you can declare incomes, you can declare gains and losses. So based on that, since as long as the regulation is not clear, you should keep the books and you should track everything, so that at the end you have the option to choose between the data that you should declare based on the on your specific regulation in your specific country. So yeah, this is like for the regulation side of it. So based on that, this is how things work. So basically, I'm going to show you and walk you through the process of how to get the data from your staking activity, how to process this data, and how to report and how to build a dashboard to report incomes, gains and losses, accounting ready data. And this is how the spreadsheet is structured. So you have sample data. The sample data tab is basically where you should import your sample data. I will explain you how to get and extract the sample data, but this, you should import sample data. Then this is how the information, the kinds of information that you should have for process data, to process the data. So you use sample data, then you process them, and you have this tab. And then based on this some process data, you have a dashboard, and you can use the different data to report your taxes when the moment will be ready. One thing is that this is only for information only. So there is no link, no automation between this tab and this tab, but there is an automation between this tab and this one. So yeah, let's dig a little bit into the first step. So how to get the sample data. So what and what sample data means for validation company. So basically, getting the sample data means that you should query and you should have on all the networks you're operating, you should have all the data about rewards that you're getting, the payments that you're doing to your delegators. And for each of these transactions, you should have the information about the volumes, the coin, of course, the different timestamp. This is really, really important to have the timestamp for each transactions. And if you have the addresses, it's better. So you need to track the address of your own, for instance, of your own baker, for instance, if it's on Tezos, but you should have also the addresses of your delegators. This is really important. So the first thing that you have in mind, this is really, really important, is that the process to get sample data is different from a network to the other. So basically, and it's different, and sometimes it could be quite complex. So for Tezos, for instance, what you have to do is either you're getting the data, you run some script to get the data directly from your node, or if you don't want to do that, you can use open source tools that you have available on the market. I'm going to show you one just after. So for Tezos, it's quite easy to get sample data. For other kinds of, so for other networks, it's a bit more complex. So for instance, for Cosmos, you don't have such a tool as the one I'm going to show you for Tezos. So you will have to build your own script to get the sample data from your node. But just have in mind that we know for a fact that some teams in the staking industry are working on the development of these tools. So they might be available for Cosmos, and other networks might be available in a few months. But if you want to do it right now, you'll have to run your own script. So yeah, let me just show you how to get the sample data from Tezos. It might be very similar. The process might be very similar when you will have similar tools for Cosmos or other kinds of networks. So basically, just double check if everyone. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Just let me double check. Yeah, I was thinking that everyone is on the. So sorry, I'm just double checking if you see everything. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Sorry for that. So here is a spreadsheet. So the link is in my spreadsheet. Here is an open source tool that some great guys in the Tezos community have built. And this tool is basically a tool to get sample data from your validation net, from your activity as a Tezos baker. So the thing you will have to do on this tool to get the sample data is that you will have to just, in this section, the red section, you will have to insert the parameters that are related to your own activity. So basically, you just put the start cycle rewards, end cycle rewards. You just, if you want to get the data for the whole year, you just double check what is the cycle at the beginning of the year, what is the cycle at the end of the year. 44 just demo I've just did for one cycle. You put a few information that are related to your Tezos activity, and basically what you do, you put rewards, you just execute the script, and you got some data. And basically for one, the way it works on Tezos is that you have, so you have one reward per, you have the reward per cycle. So you will need to report this information into your sample data tab that you will find on the Google Sheet. So basically, you have the two tabs that are imported in this spreadsheet is the rewards tab and the payment. Rewards is the crypto that you're getting from the network, and the payments is all the payments that you're doing to people that are delegating to you. So the way you should report this data is you should copy paste. It's just like copy paste basically, or you can just, of course, you can build automation on these two spreadsheet, which might be more useful. But basically, you're going here, and for instance, let's take the example of the reward. You go here, the reward, so it's the money you're getting. So basically, you're getting for this specific cycle, you're getting you're getting this amount. No, sorry, you're not getting this amount. You getting this amount. So you just copy paste this for 344 in the volume based currency tab. So here 144. This is more. This is for a bigger network, but basically you report the volumes in this column, volume-based currency. If it's a reward, you put deposit. If it's a payment, you put withdraw. You put the base currency. You put the timestamp on the date, and then you could put, like, it's exactly the same. You could put 0 everywhere. For these 3 columns, you just put 1 for is wallet. And very important thing is that if you want to have data and build analytics, and it might be very important so for an accounting perspective, if you want to have about your payments that you're doing to your delegators, you should in the cycle payments tab, you should copy paste all these addresses, who are basically the addresses people doing delegation to you, and you should copy paste them and put it in address to if it's a payment. So if you have, when you're going to start to use that, if you have any questions about how to fit the data, just feel free to contact me on the contact page on the first tab. And just one information is that these template, this column names, we use this because it's the template that you will need to process the data in our own software, the software that we've built. So when we process data, we always use this template with these columns. So what do you do once you have the sample data? So once you get the data from the tool or from your script to your spreadsheet, the thing that you have to do next is to process the data. So you have 2 ways to process the data. First, what does process the data mean? It means that you have to move from this data, the spreadsheet with only things labeled in crypto. You only have volumes and assets. You need to translate these into something that could be used for tax and accounting. So the thing you need to use, and these data are basically valuation of these flows. So you need to know what is the USD, Euro, whatever valuation for each transactions. And based on that, you are able to compute incomes, you are able to compute gains and losses, stuff like that. So that's what data processing is about. So to do this data processing, you can do two ways. If you love spreadsheet and you want to work on spreadsheet and you're very comfortable, familiar in using spreadsheet, you can use stuff like Crypto Finance. You have a link of Crypto Finance at the top. Is basically scripts and functions that works on Google Sheet, and that you can use to value transaction, for instance. This is so you can use that. We're not very familiar with that, but I just mentioned it so that if you want to do everything on spreadsheet, you can do everything on spreadsheet. Not sure though if they have the gains and losses function, but you could double check. And the other option is using a crypto accounting tool or tax tool. You have let me just correct this. You have some tools like this in the market, or basically what you will do is that you're going to use this sample data. You're going to use that. You're going to download that in a CSV format, and you're going to import it into a tool. Just to show you quickly what it looks like with our own tool is basically you will have all the transaction presented in the tool with all the information that you need. So you will have the valuation. You will have the fees. If you pay some fees here, there's no fee on this network. You will have the cost basis. Cost basis is like the valuation when you get the asset. The cost basis, gains and losses if possible. And the cool thing that you can do on these kind of tools is that you can also label transaction automatically, so you know what transaction is. So you know that this is a reward that you get on reward 176, which means that it's a reward that you get on the cycle 176. So you can do that kind of things. So yeah, you can import the data here, process the data, so you have everything. And then two options: either you can stay on the accounting tools and you will have all you need for your tracking, the incomes, the expenses. You can download reports that you can use for your accounting, or if you want just to be back on your Excel sheet, which is also very fine, you could just export the data from the accounting tool and put it into this tab. So here you have the process data, so it's the same as the sample data spreadsheet, but you have more information. So basically you have here, you see it's the price that you used for to value transactions, the cost basis, transaction valuation, gains and losses, potentially label. This comes from the tool, the Cryptio tool. So you have everything here. You have the address of people who delegate to you. So, and these, if you have this, if you manage to have this, if you are at this step of the process, you're good. You're really good. You just have to build the dashboard on top of it, but you can think that you have all the data that you need to report your taxes and to fill your books. So start to build this, and the idea is to have this 5 columns in a range. So yeah, what is the last step is how to build the dashboard on top of these transaction information to have all the data you need. Have done on this. It's a pretty simple one, but you have actually the information that you will need for that. Is basically here. So this is linked with the previous tab, but so here you can find the valuation of the payment that you have done. So you received on this specific sample, you received 440K as block rewards. So these might be reported as income if the your jurisdiction has to report this data. You did, and you can see that you did this amount for payments. You have, based on the price of coins, you have certain amount of gains and losses, and these 3 data could be used to report your transactions. report your gains and losses and to build your accounting. And also something quite cool to do that you can do quite easily. And it could be actually in an accounting perspective. If you are running a staking as a service business, you will have to hold an accounting. This is not only about taxes. Taxes is the outcome, but you need as a company to have an accounting system, or to have clear and transparent and compliant books that mix what you're doing with your crypto, but also with the bank account and all that. And in this accounting perspective, you will need to give informations about who are your clients. So for staking business, your client as your delegators. So here you can build stats with valuation in USD for your different delegators. So on this specific thing, you can see that you have delegated all this one address is one people, and you have delegated all this amount. So you can report transaction. You can say, okay, this is my client, client A. I did 24,000 of payment, 24,000 USD of payment to this specific person. So yeah, here you have basically all the information that you need for your staking activity. Again, this is work in progress, meaning that there's a lot of answers that have not been provided. There are some tools that are not here yet to be able to do it very, very efficiently and in an exhaustive way. But this is the kind of things we're doing, and we helping our client on. And yeah, so just feel free to walk around to walk through this spreadsheet. Click on the links. You have my data. You have my personal data here. So just feel free to drop me a message if you need information or if you have any questions. And I'll be back on the chat right now to be able to answer your question if you have any. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. So should we do the data export weekly, monthly, or is yearly sufficient? So it's a good question. It depends. Really, it depends. You have to double. The first thing you have to do is really to find a financial advisor or a CPA to be able to help you on that question. Of course, the more you do it, the better it is. Tax season is once a year. So yearly might work. And the thing is that right now, since you don't have all the tools to be able to export very easily all the transactions, big validators right now, for some of them, are still figuring out how to do. So they will do it once a year. When all the tools will be ready, people can expect, the tax administration can expect you to do it on a more frequent basis. But yeah, the more you do it, the better it is. Minimum frequency will have to match how often you report taxes. Quality, yeah, okay, that's a good question. Yeah, exactly. If it's anything similar to the way taxes are required to be reported from, it may be quality. Yeah, and you have Sims Reap for an IP plus UI. Those taxation apply for Ukraine. Oh yeah, I'm not an expert for Ukraine. So you have to double check on it. To know what you can do is double check for if you're from Ukraine. Double check if there is a thing around taxation for mining. If there is something for taxation for mining, you could expect that there will be taxation for staking, basically. Maybe not exactly the same way, but there will be something. Yeah, so you could find to do that. Good question. You can double check for the kind of income you need. For the kind of income it could be. So you have there is a link of an article that have been written by Figment in the spreadsheet. Yeah, so they're talking about, for now, the only thing we have is basically the thing about mining. So double check on the article with Figment, and they say it's gross income, so it's kind of it's ordinary income. So far, we don't have more information. Yeah, Jared, you're right. There is basically the if you are interested in this topic, I really invite you to read the article that are on the staking taxation challenges on Spreadsheet. Basically, people say that staking should not be that staking taxation should not be the same as mining. The reasons are really interesting. It's not only about taxes; it's also about like philosophy and what it is to be a staker and that kind of things. And basically, the debate is around is it like, should it be like mining, or you just have to account for incomes and then compute gains and losses when you sell them, which could be seen as double taxation, or should you just compute, as you said, capital gains? But again, the question is not answered yet. So you should it's highly you should keep the books both of the incomes data and the gains and losses data, and when something is more clear, you have both data and you can just choose the one that is useful. Michael, I don't know, you should ask the organizers, but if you're interested, Michael, just yeah, okay, perfect. Any other question, guys? Yeah, just feel free to double check everything. Again, you have my on the spreadsheet. Just feel free. You can copy the spreadsheet, keep the spreadsheet. You have, I think, the key informations. If you need anything, just ask me. And I maybe I not have all the answers, but if I have, I might know some people, some piece of content that might answer your questions. Yeah, that's correct. My pleasure, Jazel. And yeah, and B, double check. I will share if you follow me on Twitter. I'm gonna put my Twitter and in the spreadsheet. Once the other tools for other networks will be available, I can't say the name of the companies who are working on that, but we are actively discussing with these companies to be able to use these tools. When the tools will be available for Cosmos, Polkadot, or other kinds of network, I will share everything on Twitter. So you can just follow me on Twitter. Maybe follow also my company Twitter. I'm going to put both Twitter on the spreadsheet so that you have everything. You have everything when new tools are released. You're sure that you have access to it. Thanks. Yeah, for EOS, I'm not an expert on EOS. Sorry. So if there are other protocols that are proof of stake new, could they be deemed securities? I'm not a regulator. I can't answer that kind of question. Yeah. I don't want a deal. I'm sorry, guys.
All right, guys. If you have any additional questions, please drop it into the chat. Our next session starts at noon. So like now's like a really great opportunity to ask a really smart person about taxes. Because if you are going to be doing a staking as a service company, you really need to understand this stuff because this is a business that you're building. So this is an opportunity to just basically ask questions. Like it doesn't matter how deep you are in it. Like he's here to help you for the next 20-ish minutes. So if you guys do have questions, so take advantage of this and drop some questions into the chat. Otherwise, we'll just let him hop off and we'll wait till the next session. So yeah, thank you again sincerely for this really great session and for the worksheet. I'm sure it's like very helpful.
My pleasure. Yeah, Stefan, definitely. I have a US accountant. Just what you can do, just Stefan, send me a message on Telegram, just to know more about what you do, and we know a bunch of US accountants that could be helpful. So send me a message on Telegram. My Telegram is, or an email, whatever. Everything is here. I can definitely recommend you to call, guys. Workshop is epic. Thank you, Igor. Off topic, what is the cheapest rent? I don't know. Do you need to incorporate a company to do staking, or as long as you keep this Brian, great question. I maybe I invite you to refer. I think there is another talk that is specifically on this question, more on the legal aspect of it rather than the accountant and tax. I'm not sure who did that talk. I think it's someone for CoinTracker. I don't know. I would say you definitely need to incorporate a company, but you should double check. Maybe when all the talks will be available, double check this talk. I think it was early this morning or maybe later. I don't know. It will be specifically around that, like what kind of incorporation you have to launch if you want to run a staking business. Yeah. So AG, yeah, you should the list. No, New York City is not cheap. No, I can tell you that. Yeah, if you need any information about CPAs, accounting firms, tax advisors in the US, or not only in the US, I'm right now in New York City, so I can provide you information with good guys in the US, but we are based in Europe also, so we know some good companies, good accounting firms in Europe. So if you need these kind of connections, if you need these kind of guys, you just send me a message on Telegram or by email, and I'd be happy to connect you based on your activity. I would be happy to connect you to the good people. Basically, what you can do. Thanks, Amini, for the question. So I'm not sure if your question is about is our software is able to give you advice and budget planning, or is the question is about how do you use this information for your tax purposes? If it's about how do you use this for tax purposes, basically, if you're running a staking service, if you're running a staking business, what you have to do is have an accounting system that is not only linked for your crypto, that an accounting system that makes what's happening with your crypto, but also what happens with your fiat. I think you might have some fiat involved. You might have a bank account. So you need to have an accounting system. This accounting system could be QuickBooks, it could be Xero, it could be whatever. You have a bunch of software like this on the market. If you are in the US, QuickBooks is better. If you are in Europe, maybe you can use others like Xero or whatever. So you need that. And you will need, and the data you see on the spreadsheet will be basically data that you use. You're going to use this data to put them in your QuickBooks or in your Xero, so that you have everything together and your accountant can just do the regular accounting. If you want to do that, so if you want to take the data from your staking activity and put it in your QuickBooks or accounting system, this is not a straightforward process. So for these, you should definitely use an accounting solution, a crypto accounting solution. To do that, the spreadsheet is not enough. So if you need to do that, just feel free to send me a message. And if your question is about can you use that? Yeah, can you use these data to do budget planning? What kind of assets should I sell? That kind of things. This do not expect from all the players in the market. Do not expect that kind of things before, I would say, at least a year. We are, as you may have understood it, the problem right now is extracting the data. Like building budget planning on top of all this data is something that the market is not ready to do yet, but it's definitely where we want to go at the end. Forks happen somewhat regularly in proof of work chains. How do you think of forks in the proof of stake world? To be honest, Igor, I don't know. I'm more I'm more taxation and accounting expert rather than very technical proof of stake expert. I would say that there is no, again, so far there is no such thing as staking regulation specific to staking, and there could be, it's likely that it might be similar to what mining is, even though it's not what the ecosystem want. If it's like the mining taxation, the forks will be accounted the same way. And forks for proof of work protocol is basically it's like it's a bit like the when you're involved in mining activity. So you have to account for the valuation of the asset when it drops on your wallet, and then you have to account for gains and losses. So it might be similar. But again, since as long as there is no clear regulation, you should be ready. Even if you're running a staking business and you're running like a serious staking business, you want to do things like in the right way. You should, in the system that you're building to keep the books of all transaction, you should be ready. This system should be customizable enough so that you can pull and query all kinds of data that you will need. So you will need to see, okay, what's exactly what's happening for mining, and you will need to be able to query this data for mining, even though, and in like a personal point of view, it's not a good thing if the regulation would be the same for mining. It won't be a cool thing for the ecosystem. It won't boost the development of this proof of stake technology, which is we all want here this technology to be developed as fast as possible. But still, I'm not a regulator, so I don't make the rules. So you should stick to what mining regulation is, time mining taxation is, and in the system you're building, you should keep track of all the information that mining activity requires, so incomes, gains and losses, and kind of things. Most regulations are struggling to catch up with taxation from trading and mining. That's correct. Proof of stake is so new that its entire sphere is still on more theory or proposal. Nothing is really clear with staking taxation so far. I can't agree more. I can't agree more. Here it's just about, again, that's why I say it's for indication purposes. It's just like for you to be able to track right now what you're doing, and when the regulation be ready, have all the data available. So, but right now, I won't tell you. That's why I'm not telling you you should report this, you should report that. I'm telling you you should keep track of this, keep track of that, because that might be useful for future regulation. But yeah, but if you're interested, Jared, in this issues, I really invite you to read the articles that are in the spreadsheet around that. You have very interesting things about how people in the proof of stake world want the taxation to be, with very clever and smart people and good expert on that issue. But yeah, there is no such thing as taking taxation in regulation. Does your tool have a way to calculate the value of the reward at payout, and then when you cash out USD? Yeah, it does. If you need more info, just feel free to send me an email. How would we adapt your worksheet in order to pull and process just the data for particular delegator address? Yeah, thanks. Great question, Abraham. You should. This actually might be easier. Is easier than just like on the validation side. So just use the tools that are available in the market. Maybe you can use a Chain Explorer, depending on the network that you're using. Just pull a Chain Explorer and put the address of your delegator address and get the rewards and get the list of rewards. And you can just copy paste these rewards into the spreadsheet. Yeah, thanks for sharing the spreadsheet. Step to have done ahead of time. Entirely agree. Yeah. Yeah, you should be in really what we learned working with a lot of crypto companies, not only in the staking ecosystem, is that it's better if you want to run a serious business. It's better if you have proactive, because if you're not proactive on these kind of things, bad things can happen. And yeah. Yeah, so the Chain Explorer. So yeah, feel free to, for instance, you can use that. Let me send you. If you are, for instance, delegating on Tezos, you could use this. This is a Chain Explorer. So you just copy paste the address of your delegator address. You copy paste the address, and you will have the reward, and you copy paste the reward in the spreadsheet. Yeah. Any other questions? So yeah, again, if you need any help, if you have any question, I saw that some of you might be interested in talking to CPAs. Just email me, Antoine@cryptio.co, and or on Telegram. I'd be happy to answer all your questions, giving necessary connections, and walk you through this complex topic.
All right, guys. So I'm going to let Antoine hop off now. He's done a phenomenal job. For our next sessions, our next 3 sessions will be on Ethereum 2.0. So we have Prismatic Labs doing a talk and giving an update on the Ethereum 2 beacon chain. Then we'll have Consensus Codify actually talk about the different validator economics of ETH2. So you can figure out how to calculate costs and rewards. Then after that, we have Rocket Pool, who will walk you through how to spin up a validator on Ethereum 2.0. So do show up. It's at noon, which is in about 12 minutes. And yeah, Antoine, sincere thanks. And everyone follow him on Twitter and connect with him afterwards, because he will be a big help.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.